Hello students and welcome to Skholar, your one-stop solution to UPSC preparation. I am Shubhangi Sharma, your faculty for history, and students, this is a module that is based on the NCERTs of history. As I have been constantly telling you in all my lectures, NCERTs are very important and they form a basic understanding for your UPSC syllabus, and that is why in this particular module we are going to journey through the entire history NCERTs for a better understanding. Alright, so let's begin. Now students, in this particular lecture, we are starting with the new NCERT, that is class 11's NCERT, which is based on art and culture. The book's name is An Introduction to Indian Art, and herein we are going to start with the first chapter, that is Prehistoric Rock Paintings. Now students, prehistoric rock paintings is a very important part of your art and culture syllabus. Alright, it is very important, and in this particular chapter very amazing information has been given, and that is why you need to go through this particular NCERT. Now before starting students this particular chapter, I would like to tell you that what is prehistory. So basically students, prehistory is that time period wherein human beings were in the stage of early development, and the prehistory time period is also known as Old Stone Age or the Paleolithic Age. Now herein students, I would like to tell you that the Paleolithic Age is divided into three categories. What are these three categories? First of all, there was an early Paleolithic Age, then there was a middle Paleolithic Age, and then there was this upper Paleolithic Age. Now the early Paleolithic Age is also known as the lower Paleolithic period. So there are these three stages, that is early, middle and upper. But why do we need to talk about these differences? The difference here is that students, that the rock paintings are something that appeared in this time period, that is in the upper Paleolithic period. So before the upper Paleolithic period, that is in the early and middle Paleolithic period, we do not find the prominence of rock paintings. Okay. So having said that, the upper Paleolithic time is the time period wherein there was proliferation of artistic activities, that is the rock paintings. Now what were the themes that were depicted as a part of these rock paintings? So basically students, there were drawings which consisted of human figurines. Then there were human activities that were depicted. Also there were geometric designs and animal symbols. Now students, these themes are very important for our understanding of what our ancestors were doing in that time period, and that is why all the themes that are depicted are very important to us, and we need to know that these were the subjects that were being depicted. Now moving on to the next slide, before moving on to the next slide, I would like to point out that in your NCERT, a very important map at the beginning of this chapter has been given, which is showing all the prehistoric sites wherein areas with paintings or engravings etc. have been found. So you have to go through this particular map. It will be very helpful for you guys, as we also get map based questions in our optional examination. Okay. Now students, I would like to specifically talk about the rock art in India. As I have just told you, the rock art is something that started to be shown in the upper Paleolithic time period, and in our country, the first discovery of these rock paintings was done by an archaeologist, that is Archibald Carlyle, in the year 1867 to 1868. So you have to remember the name of this archaeologist, and that he was the person who had discovered for the first time rock paintings in our country. Now students, we are going to talk about the areas or the states in which these rock paintings were found. Having said that, there are many remnants of rock paintings in the cave clusters that are situated in states such as Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Bihar. So you have to remember the names of these 5 states, because the rock paintings, the earliest remnants, have been found in the cave clusters that are located in these states. Apart from the students, there are certain paintings that have also been found in the Kumaon hills of Uttarakhand, and the cave shelter in which these rock paintings are yielded is known as Lakhu Diyar. Now students, Lakhu Diyar literally means 1 lakh caves. So you can understand that if there is an area wherein as many as 1 lakh caves are being found, that means a lot of important content with respect to rock paintings have been yielded. Okay. Now herein in the Lakhu Diyar caves, the paintings can be divided into 3 categories, that is based on the themes of man, animal and geometric patterns in the colors such as white, black and red ochre. Now students, there is certain symbolism and time period that is also associated with the color categories, and this is something that we are also going to talk about in the next slide. तो अभी तक हमने ये समझ लिया है कि रॉक पेंटिंग्स किस टाइम पीरियड में आई, रॉक पेंटिंग्स के अंदर क्या क्या थीम्स डिपिक्ट होती थी, इंडिया में किस टाइम पे सबसे पहली रॉक पेंटिंग्स मिली और वो किसको मिली, दैट इज AC कार्लाइल, और उसके अलावा हमने ये समझा कि कौन से स्टेट्स में हमें प्री हिस्टोरिक रॉक पेंटिंग्स के एग्जाम्पल्स मिलते हैं. Now let's move forward, students. There is another concept that is vital for the understanding of rock paintings in India, and that concept is superimposition of paintings. Superimposition का मतलब ये होता है students कि एक ही painting के ऊपर और paintings with time बनाई जा रही हैं. Okay, so this is one concept that is prominent with respect to cave paintings in our country. Now, इसके अंदर जैसा कि मैंने आपको अभी बताया था कि कलर की कुछ टाइम प्रोमिनेंस होती है. कैसे होती है? बेसिकली द अर्लीस्ट पेंटिंग्स वर मेड इन ब्लैक कलर एंड देन देयर वाज सुपर इम्पोजिशन बाय अनदर पेंटिंग्स विच वर मेड फ्रॉम रेड ओकर एंड फाइनली द लास्ट ग्रुप कंप्राइजेस ऑफ वाइट पेंटिंग्स. यानी कि किसी केव में अगर आप जाएंगे और वहां पे आपको सुपर इम्पोजिशन दिख रहा है तो उसमें जो सबसे पुरानी पेंटिंग्स हैं वो ब्लैक कलर की हैं. फिर नेक्स्ट फेज में जब दोबारा वहां पेंटिंग्स बनने लगी तो वो रेड कलर में बनी, और जो सबसे अर्लीस्ट उसके अंदर जो सबसे नई पेंटिंग्स हुई वो बनी वाइट कलर के अंदर. तो यहाँ पे आपने सुपर इम्पोजिशन का कॉन्सेप्ट समझ लिया और ये समझ लिया कि कौन सा कलर सबसे पहले आया और कौन सा कलर सबसे लेट डिस्कवर हुआ जिससे कि पेंटिंग्स बनने लगी. Now, apart from all the states which we have discussed, now we are going to take an example of Kashmir. Now, Kashmir, students, is important because herein we have found another type of painting, that is engravings. Okay, what is engraving? Engraving का मतलब होता है किसी भी पत्थर के स्लैब पे किसी चीज को खोद के बनाना. पेंटिंग होती है पेंट से और एनग्रेविंग खोद के बनाने से होती है, and that is why this example of Kashmir is important. Apart from the students, even in the states of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, we find examples of granite rock which were suitable canvases to the Neolithic man for his paintings. यानी कि आप देखेंगे कि जो एनग्रेविंग या पेंटिंग है इसके लिए क्या पीछे का सोर्स यूज होता था, किस ऑब्जेक्ट के ऊपर इन पेंटिंग्स को बनाया जाता था. तो कर्नाटका और आंध्र प्रदेश में इसके लिए ग्रेनाइट रॉक्स यूज की जाती थी. Apart from the students, there are certain other famous sites wherein rock paintings have been yielded, which include sites such as Kupgallu, Pikli Hall and Tekal Kotta. Okay, so these are three places you have to remember the names because sometimes in our prelims examination, let's say, we get a multiple choice question wherein names of 4 sites are given and we need to identify that which among them or which of these places that are given in the question have yielded prehistoric rock paintings. Okay. Apart from the students, now we are going to talk about the color segregation, wherein there are 3 types of paintings that have been reported from these areas, such as paintings in white, red ochre and over white background and paintings in red ochre. So I have told you कि color की भी एक prominence होती है, color time period भी दर्शाता है और at the same time rock paintings को categorize करने में help भी करता है. तो अभी तक जो हमने कर्नाटका और आंध्र प्रदेश की पेंटिंग्स के बारे में डिस्कशन किया उसमें हमें ये पता चलता है कि 3 टाइप की कैटेगरी की पेंटिंग्स मिलती थी, wherein there were white paintings, then there were certain paintings which were created in red ochre but the background was white, and then there were certain paintings which were just made by the red ochre color. Now students, let's move on to the next slide. Now we are going to jump to another time period, that is Neolithic time period. Okay, यहाँ पे मैं आपको फिर से एक बार टाइमलाइन का अंदाज कराती हूँ. तो स्टूडेंट्स, जो स्टोन एज होती थी इसमें मैंने आपको बताया कि एक पेलियोलिथिक टाइम पीरियड होता था जो कि 3 कैटेगरीज में डिवाइडेड था, दैट इज द लोअर पेलियोलिथिक पीरियड, द मिडिल पेलियोलिथिक पीरियड एंड द अपर पेलियोलिथिक पीरियड. और इस टाइम पीरियड के अंदर रॉक पेंटिंग्स हमारे को दिखने लगी थी. फिर स्टूडेंट, स्टोन एज का दूसरा सेगमेंट आता है, दैट इज द मेसोलिथिक पीरियड. ठीक है, इसको बोलते हैं मिडिल पीरियड भी बोलते हैं, इसे मिडिल स्टोन एज. एंड देन देर इज द नियोलिथिक टाइम पीरियड. नियोलिथिक टाइम पीरियड इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट है स्टूडेंट्स क्योंकि इस टाइम पे जो ह्यूमन बींग्स थे वो उनकी लाइफस्टाइल सेडेंट्री हो गई थी. सेडेंट्री से हट के एक जगह वो रहने लग गए थे और वहां पे उन्होंने फार्मिंग की प्रैक्टिसेस भी करनी शुरू कर दी थी, एनिमल डोमेस्टिकेशन होने लगा था और इसीलिए जो आर्टिस्टिक एक्टिविटीज थी इनमें भी एक तरह का बूस्ट आया था. So till now we have understood that what were the themes or what was the object or colors that were used as a part of the paintings in the upper Paleolithic period. Now we are going to talk about the paintings during the Mesolithic and the Neolithic period. Under that, students, I would like to tell you that the subjects that were depicted in these rock paintings included animals such as bulls, elephants, sambar, gazelle, sheep, goat, horses, stylized humans, tridents, but rarely vegetal motifs. अब यहाँ पे आपको बार बार लग रहा होगा कि थीम्स को पढ़ के हमें क्या फर्क पड़ता है. Why do we need to know that what all animals were being depicted? Now, this is very, very important, students, particularly from a history point of view, because the animals that are depicted in these particular cave paintings tell us and give us a good insight into the fauna that was prevalent in that time period. हमें ये पता चलता है कि स्टोन एज के टाइम पे कौन से जानवर थे, किस शेप में डेवलप थे और उनका ह्यूमन से क्या इंटरैक्शन था. Alright, apart from that, students, now we are going to talk about an area which has yielded the richest rock paintings in our country, and that includes the Vindhyan ranges of Madhya Pradesh along with the Kaimurian extensions into Uttar Pradesh. Now, these hill ranges, students, are full of Paleolithic and Mesolithic remains, and they are also full of forest, wild plants, fruits, etc., which became a perfect place for the Stone Age people to live. So naturally, any area which is full of resources is something that was very lucrative for the lifestyle of the early Stone Age man, and that is why many people, the earliest humans were more adapted to these areas, and that is why they yield so many rock paintings. Alright. Now, students, under the Madhya Pradesh ranges, the most important examples of rock painting have been yielded from a cave shelter which is known as Bhimbetka. And Bhimbetka here, students, is the largest and most spectacular rock shelter that is located in Madhya Pradesh. It has yielded about 800 rock shelters, along with out of which 500 bear paintings. So you can see how many examples of rock art can be found in just one rock shelter that is located in Madhya Pradesh, known as Bhimbetka. Now, students, these caves that were located, the Bhimbetka caves were discovered by an archaeologist known as V.S. Wakankar in 1957 to 1958, and later on many other archaeologists discovered many more paintings. So you have to remember the name of the archaeologist who was prominent in discovering the rock arts in Bhimbetka. Now let us talk about the themes that are depicted in the Bhimbetka cave shelters. So these include, students, mundane events of daily life, and they also include sacred and royal images. Apart from the, students, there is a certain classification that has been done of the rock paintings that have been found in Bhimbetka, which are divided on the basis of style, technique and superimposition. सुपरइम्पोजिशन वाला कॉन्सेप्ट मैं आपको पीछे वाली स्लाइड में बता ही चुकी हूँ, जिसमें हम कलर के थ्रू आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं कि कौन सी पेंटिंग पहले बनी थी और कौन सी पेंटिंग बाद में बनी थी. Apart from the, students, the paintings that are found in the Bhimbetka rock shelters are also categorized on the basis of time period, that is 7 historical time periods. However, under them, only 3 periods are of importance to us that have been discussed in this particular chapter as well, which include the first period or the Upper Paleolithic period, the second period that is the Mesolithic period, and the third period which is the Chalcolithic period. स्टूडेंट्स, यहाँ पे मैं आपको चैप्टर से ब्रेक करके एक पॉइंट बताना चाहूँगी. जितना इम्पॉर्टेंट हमारे लिए अपर पेलियोलिथिक पीरियड है रॉक आर्ट के लिए, उससे कहीं ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट हमारे लिए मेसोलिथिक पीरियड है, क्योंकि मेसोलिथिक टाइम पीरियड के अंदर और ज़्यादा थीम्स डिपिक्ट होने लगी थी और ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन हमें मेसोलिथिक पेंटिंग से मिलती है कंपेयर टू अपर पेलियोलिथिक पीरियड. Having said that, students, now we are going to talk about in detail of the paintings that belong to the Mesolithic period. So, as I have just told you, the largest number of paintings belong to the second period that covers the Mesolithic paintings. Now, here in, students, an important point to note is that there were multiple themes that were depicted. However, the paintings were very small in size. Okay, so compared to the Upper Paleolithic period, wherein the depictions were done in a grand form, wherein all the objects were painted in a large surface area. However, now in the Mesolithic period, the paintings were comparatively smaller in size. Alright. Now, under these Mesolithic paintings, the most dominant theme were the hunting scenes, as shown in this particular image as well. And there were many animals also, students, that were being depicted, which include elephant, bison, tiger, deer, antelope, leopard, etc. Apart from the students, animals were painted in a naturalistic style, that is, they used to appear as they were. However, the depiction of humans was only in a stylistic manner. अगर आप ये इमेज भी देखेंगे स्टूडेंट्स, तो यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे जो हॉर्स है वो बहुत ही नेचुरली जैसे अपीयर करता है वैसे ही दिख रहा है, बट ह्यूमंस को एक स्टाइलिस्टिक मैनर में या स्टिक फिगर फॉर्म में दिखाया जाता था, इसीलिए इसमें ये एक बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस है जो कि हमें याद रखना है. नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द हंटिंग सीन्स दैट डोमिनेट द थीम्स ऑफ द मेसोलिथिक पीरियड, there are many mundane daily activities as well that are being shown on the cave paintings. Under that, students, even women are being represented both in the nude and clothed form. Also, students, the young and the old people also find a place in these rock paintings, wherein children are painted running, jumping, and playing. Apart from this, there are also a theme of community dances, and there are paintings wherein people are found gathering fruit or honey from trees. Women are found grinding and preparing food. Also, students, some of the pictures have men, women, and children, which depict sort of a family life. Herein, students, we must also know that in many rock shelters, there are findings of handprints, fist prints, and dots which were made by fingertips. Now, students, this particular slide is giving us a glimpse into the daily life activities of the human beings belonging to the Mesolithic period, wherein we can see that a sense of family and a community had already begun by the examples of community dancing and the depictions of family life. Apart from the students, we also know that what were the daily activities that women were doing, such as preparing food or gathering fruit or honey, etc. So these certain examples are very, very important in order to understand the social life of the Mesolithic period. All right. Now, students, next important point that we need to know with respect to these rock paintings is the use of colors. Which colors were used and from what were these colors obtained from? Having said that, students, the artists of Bhimbetka used many colors which included shades of white, yellow, orange, red ochre, purple, brown, green, and black. Now, students, we are going to talk about how these colors were obtained in the first place. Herein, you must know that white and red were the colors which were used the majority of time. Now, the paints, as I've just told you, are made from grinding various rocks and minerals, wherein the red color is obtained from a stone known as hematite, also known as Geru in India. Apart from the stones, the green color came from green variety of stones such as chalcedony. Also, white might have been made out of limestone. Now, the brushes which were used to paint these colors onto the caves were made out of plant fiber, and herein an important point to note will be that these colors have remained intact over all these years, and this the reason behind this is that there was a chemical reaction of the oxides that was present on the surface of the rock. तो हमने इस स्लाइड में ये समझा कि कौन से कलर्स मेसोलिथिक पेंटिंग्स बनाने के लिए यूज किए जाते थे, इनको कहाँ से ऑब्टेन किया जाता था और क्यों ये इतने लंबे समय तक इन वॉल्स पे टिक गए, बिकॉज ऑफ केमिकल रिएक्शन ऑफ ऑक्साइड्स दैट वर प्रेजेंट ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ दीज रॉक्स. Now, students, we are going to talk about the implementation of the themes that are depicted in these paintings. हमें इन paintings को देख के क्या information obtain होती है. So basically, students, the prehistoric paintings, as I have told you, help us in understanding the early human beings, their lifestyles, their food habits, their daily activities, and above all, they help us in understanding their mind and the way they used to think. Also, students, the prehistoric period remains are a great witness to the evolution of human civilization through the numerous rock weapons, tools, ceramics, and bones that were yielded as a part of archaeological evidences. तो स्टूडेंट्स, ये हमारी फाइनल स्लाइड है. इसके अंदर हमने जितना भी रॉक पेंटिंग्स के बारे में पढ़ा है उसका एक तरह से एक निष्कर्ष निकाला है, जिससे हम समझ पा रहे हैं कि इन पेंटिंग्स को पढ़ने से हमें क्या फायदा मिलता है. First of all, we as humans come to know that how our ancestors started living their life in the first place, how the sense of community developed, what were the cultural activities, what was the social life, what was the subsistence pattern, etc. That is something that is revealed to us via these rock paintings. Okay. So students, with this we have completed our discussion on this particular chapter. I'm going to give you a very quick recap on the same. First of all, we had started understanding the difference between the Paleolithic time period, wherein it is divided into the early, middle and upper Paleolithic period, and the rock paintings proliferated in the upper Paleolithic age. Okay, then students, we had started talking about the rock art in India, where all it has been found, and who was the first person who had discovered rock art in India, that is Archibald Carlyle. Then students, we had understood about the concept of superimposition of paintings and how it helps us in defining the timeline of the paintings that are presented in our country. Then students, we had understood about the themes that are depicted in the rock art in India, wherein we had understood that what all animals are depicted and how they are important in understanding the fauna of that time period. Then students, we had taken in detail the example of the Bhimbetka rock shelters that are located in Madhya Pradesh, because this is one area wherein a lot of rock art has been found, a rich rock art has been found, and this gives us very important insights into the lifestyle of the Mesolithic people in our country. We have also understood that who discovered these rock art, that is V.S. Wakankar, and apart from that we have understood the different categories in which the Bhimbetka rock art has been divided. Next students, we had spoken about the Mesolithic period and the rock art that belonged to that period. Under that we had understood that what all themes were dominating the Mesolithic period paintings, such as the hunting scenes, the animals that were depicted, and the domestic life and the subsistence patterns that are being depicted in the Mesolithic rock paintings. Finally, students, we had understood about the colors that were used in creating the Mesolithic paintings and how they were obtained from, what all rocks were used to obtain such colors. Also students, in the final slide we had understood that what do we get by studying these rock paintings, wherein I had highlighted and emphasized on the fact that these rock paintings are very important as they give us an insight into the life of our ancestors and how we as humans have evolved over the time period. Okay, so students, with this we have completed our discussion on this particular chapter, that is prehistoric rock paintings. Now we are going to attempt 2 practice questions for a better understanding. Now under that students, the first question is that I have given you names of 3 sites and you need to identify that which among these have yielded examples of prehistoric rock paintings. Now under that students, I had told you that Kashmir and Madhya Pradesh which also comprises of the Bhimbetka rock shelters, have yielded rock paintings. However, Rajasthan is not a part of it. Okay, so that is why our final answer will be option C, that is Kashmir and Madhya Pradesh have yielded examples of prehistoric rock paintings. Now students, let us move on to the next question. It contains 2 statements and we need to identify that which among these statements are correct. Now the first statement says that Mesolithic rock art is comparatively bigger than the Upper Paleolithic period. Now students, this is going to be an incorrect statement. Why? Because I had just told you when we were talking about the Mesolithic art that the difference between the Upper Paleolithic and Mesolithic art is that whatever was being depicted in the Mesolithic rock art was comparatively smaller in size, and that is why the reverse of this statement will be correct. Okay. Now the next statement says that the rock paintings at Bhimbetka were discovered by Archibald Carlyle. Now students, this statement again is going to be incorrect because the rock paintings at Bhimbetka are discovered by archaeologist V.S. Wakankar, whereas Archibald Carlyle is the archaeologist who was the first person to discover rock paintings in India. Hence, we can see that both these statements are incorrect and therefore our final answer for this particular question is going to be option D. That is, neither one nor the second statement are correct. So students, with this we have completed our discussion on this particular chapter, that is prehistoric rock paintings. It is very important from your UPSC perspective, both from the prelims and mains side. So you have to go through this chapter very carefully. Students, if you like our content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon as you will be updated whenever any important topic pertaining to your UPSC preparation is coming up. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.